Welcome to Bon Jovi Discussions. Today I have my dear friend Shauna, who did not give me the "Have a nice day" Aaron's memo because I didn't put mine on.
No,
Those are pretty cool though. I
thank you.
I'd look a little goofy, I guess, right?
I think you might.
Yeah. Next time I'll give it a try. Just give me the memo beforehand. How
I
are
will.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So before we get into our fun topic, I always like to ask, how did you become a Bon Jovi fan?
Well, let's see. First of all, thank you for having me on. I really enjoy this. It's awesome. Always love talking Bon Jovi.
Yeah, me
Um,
too.
when I was really little, like four, I was a huge Bruce Springsteen fan, believe it or not. I would run around singing Born in the USA like all day long.
Hmm.
Um, and so that's where my sort of rock love began. And then my brother is 8 years older than I am. And so he was in like junior high school at that time and really into music. And he purchased Slippery When Wet, the tape. And me, as his little sister, used to rifle through his stuff and, be really, really annoying. And so I rifled through his tapes and I found the Slippery When Wet tape. And I had my dad put it on for me. And that was it. I was done. I never listened to Bruce Springsteen again or Born in the USA. It was just Bon Jovi
What
from
what
then on.
song what song pulled you in on that album?
Well, I have to say it was probably You Give Love a Bad Name.
Oh, it wasn't
Um,
Social Disease?
no, but that is now one of my favorites on there.
Is it really?
Yes, it
Okay.
is. I love
Yeah,
Social Disease.
yeah,
But
I
back
like
then
it.
I was like, eh.
Yeah, I like it too. I always thought that I love Social Disease. I think it's a great song. For the 80s, it really fits the album, but like if you listen to it now, it's really one of those standout tracks to the it's like Keep the Faith album. If I Was Your Mother doesn't really fit into it, but it works.
Right.
So
But yeah, so it wasn't Social Disease back then. But yeah, I took the tape from my brother and I still have it. I never gave it back to him.
yeah,
So
you still have it?
I still have it. It's mine now. And after that album, he no longer cared for Bon Jovi. And so,
Jeez, did you give New Jersey a chance?
no,
Keep the Faith, Blaze of Glory, Crossroad, or Crossroads a compliment.
no, he
You,
was he was done with Bon Jovi and had moved on to metal. So
shame on him.
I know. But he got to hear all the Bon Jovi thanks to me. So,
You keep him up to date.
right. And I think that by the time I found Slippery When Wet, I think New Jersey was already out. But I didn't know it because he didn't have it. And I think it was a while before I even knew there was New Jersey um, to get into my tape collection. And
Yeah.
obviously, I also didn't know about the two prior albums until Crossroad came out.
Yeah. Ooh, surprise, surprise.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Thankfully we have the media age now, where you could just like dive into, I remember I was 8 years old in 2000 and I became a fan. And the internet wasn't really around, but I remember I had actually I have it right beside me, which is funny. I got the remaster albums. And this is how I knew that there were other albums prior to
Oh,
Crossroad. And
that's funny.
and so that's how I knew how to collect them. So I would remember what the album cover looked like, go to the store. And it's funny you mentioned cassette because the very first CD I got was Crush after begging my dad over and over and over for a month to get me the album on release day. And I got Crush on CD and I wanted more Bon Jovi albums. And I told my dad, please give me another album. And he made me a deal. I'll get you either two cassette tapes, which is pretty much like the price of a CD.
Hmm.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then or I can get one CD. So I chose to get Blaze of Glory and Crossroad on cassette. And so what I was going to ask you was I probably my radio, I played Crossroad and Blaze of Glory over and over and over and over every day, and it ate the tape. So I'm surprised that unless you had like a really high quality radio, your tape never got eaten.
My tape did not get eaten, but I would always play it in my Walkman. And I remember when I got the debut album and 7800 Degrees, I just listened to those things over and over and over and over again, just like anytime I had my music on, it was like those two albums because it was during like These Days wasn't out yet, and Keep the Faith was still a few years earlier. And so
Yeah.
I hadn't had like new music. And
Yeah.
so it was new to me music to have the debut album, the first two albums. So
Yeah.
I could just listen to those things. And so I just remember like after school, I would be walking with friends or something to someone else's house or whatever. And I'd be listening to my music while I was walking with them. And I was listening to like Tokyo Road and songs
Yeah.
like that, songs that I guarantee you were not in my friend's Walkman
Playlist.
I was walking with.
Well, let's get into our topic because I know this is your favorite song, and so I wanted to do an episode with you, and I knew I wanted to do an episode on this song, and I was like, I gotta go to Shauna and do this episode with her. So we
Yeah.
are going to talk about Shauna's absolute favorite Bon Jovi song, "Bells of Freedom," which is on the Have a Nice Day
Have a
album.
nice day, which is why
Yeah.
we're appropriately dressed with our Have a
Right.
Nice Day attire.
You see my Have a Nice Day attire? I may not have the earrings, but I got the shirt.
You got the shirt, that's all that matters.
I'll get a neck tattoo of the song
Tattoo.
tomorrow. Yeah, we'll re-record the episode. And
Or you could
anyway,
do a forehead tattoo.
just all over my face. Anyway, the song was written by John Ritchie and Desmond Child. Track number 6 on the Have a Nice Day album, which we know the album is full of, hope and resiliency, confidence, toughness. But the song, John said in an interview, and I tried to find it for this episode today, and I couldn't find it. I think it just got taken off. I read it somewhere, but this was the only song that was still inspired by 9/11. Um,
Really?
because we know Balance had a few songs inspired by 9/11, but John said even after Balance, he still had some inspiration for songs from 9/11. So Bells of Freedom kind of stemmed from that a little bit. I got to find that interview because I know he delved a little deeper into it. Like I think this is one of the earlier songs that he wrote for Have a Nice Day. Could be wrong.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure. But the song is all about peace and trying to find unity among civilization, I guess. And trying to find that peace in the middle of adversity and tough times and everything. And it also pays a little homage to, our veterans who've served. Uh, and the song, I think also, when I look at the lyrics, I find some of the lyrics talking about the importance of being together, standing together, and finding your voice and standing up for what you
Right.
believe.
Stand your ground.
Stand your ground, like you lost every round.
Right.
So before we get more into I know this is your favorite song. So what does this song mean to you, and why is it your favorite?
Well, I feel like it really speaks to me because what it says to me when I think of the lyrics is like, when your world's crashing down and you've lost every round, stand your ground. And it seems like it's when things are really terrible, like you can look deep inside yourself and find something that will keep you going, something that will get you through this. And when the album came out, was a time when my mom currently has like a ton of health problems. Like she's fine, but she just has a lot of medical problems. And it started her journey with medical problems actually started when this album came out. And so she had her first like big hospitalization, and I would stay there till like midnight. And then when I would make my drive home, I would play this album like the whole way home. And so I just really remember having that. And it was like the first big, like, health scare with her, etc. And so I felt like it was one of those times where you're like really feeling like, okay, and I felt like I didn't have a ton of support. And so it was kind of just me sort of managing everything and doing everything at the hospital and, stuff like that. So it was like, okay, I have to, look within myself, the silent scream that no one can hear. And then, I flash forward like a few years later, again, my mom's in the hospital. She's in worse shape than the last hospitalization. And it was me against like this team of doctors that it was not doing things properly, me against my other family members that didn't agree with what I was doing. And so it was literally, I was in the parking lot in my car at the hospital, like crying and feeling like, what am I going to do? How am I going to get out of this situation? And I think back, to those lyrics. It's like, when your world's crashing down and you've lost every round, which is like how I had felt at that point, like stand your ground and ring the bells of freedom, like find what's inside of you is going to get you through this. And ultimately, I picked myself up, I did what I had to do. I got her transferred to a different hospital, like all of this stuff just came together and like everything smoothed out, and it was me doing it by myself. And so that's why this song, sort of sticks with me so much, because it tells me that even if it's bad and even if I'm the only one that is there to sort of, stand the ground, that I feel like that silent scream inside that no one else can hear is like me saying, okay, I can do this. Like, yes, I'm, kind of like I've got this type thing. So that's kind of why, meaning wise, it means a lot to me. But, also with just the passion and the way he delivers the lines and the sort of tone and richness of his voice, how it comes through is just really, really powerful and spectacular to me.
Your story gave me goosebumps, just so you know. I don't know if I could show them on the camera here, but no, really, your story was, oh, made me so sad for you. But like you found hope through that tough, and that's the great thing about this band and music is that through our toughest times, we find answers in music, or we have music to help guide us and be there for us and stuff. And you brought up a point during your story too, I wanted to mention. Um, when your world comes crashing down, that line kind of speaks, when you're at your lowest and you're
So
at full despair and you don't know what you're going to do, what direction you're going to go, how you're going to pick yourself up. You have to look within yourself and find that answer and realize how important you are, especially to yourself. And yeah, it kind of goes back to the lines like "Welcome to wherever you are." Like when you want to give up and your heart's about to break,
yeah,
remember that you're perfect. And, God makes some mistakes, and so that kind of goes along with that theme too. And we'll get into this a few different parts of the song, but John's delivery is just, I think that's what makes this song so great. It's like you said, it's full, it's rich, and it's what was the other word that you used? It was perfect. It was like the perfect
it's
word.
like his tone and
Tone. Yeah, and we'll get into that, but yeah, let's talk about lyrics. Um, I have two favorite sets of lyrics, but this is your favorite song, so I have to let you go first.
um
Here, you want my booklet?
I really think that it is you know, the part about when your world's crashing down, like you've lost every round, like,
Yeah.
and I like how it changes from when your world's crashing down, and then the next time he sings it, it's when your world comes crashing down.
Yes.
I
I
like that
yeah.
change.
I was gonna bring that up later, but you already opened the door.
Oops, I spoiled it.
No, that is my favorite part of the song. Like you said, like the very first chorus that he does it, he sounds more, I don't want to say angry, but on the edge of angry, like a lot of emotion. Maybe anger is not the right word. Not like I'm mad at you, anger, but just like I'm so done with it. I'm filled up with it, and
Like it's emotional.
yeah, it's emotional. And then when you get to the second chorus, that comes part, that part where he says comes crash, he's more at a softer tone that, and when a lot of bands record songs, they just record the chorus one time and then that's it. You get the same chorus first, second, and then the last. It's the same chorus. But here you
Right.
can tell they recorded each chorus separately. Um, and so yeah, I love that part too. And then I think the end in the last chorus with comes crashing down. I think it's like a combination of soft but with fierceness. I think that's the word I'm looking for is fierceness. Maybe not. Who
Yeah.
knows?
I think
But
it's also a little bit of desperation, like you're just
yeah,
sort of clinging to
yeah,
something.
yep. I have two favorite lines. First one is up the steps of the church, through the fields, in
Mhm.
the dirt, in the dark. I have seen that the sun still shines for the one who believes. And I love the way that Richie kind of harmonizes with him on that
Yeah,
part. I think because you don't really hear much Richie in that song, but that verse you do, and I think
yeah,
they come
you do.
together so well there. So I thought that was unique. And then my absolute favorite, and I want to say the whole thing because I think it's so good and it's worth saying. So bear with me here. I was lost on my knees on the eve
Yes.
of defeat. As I choked back the tears, there's a silent scream no one could hear. So far away from everything you know is true. Something inside that makes you do what you've got to do.
Yeah.
And the way that John
That's
delivered,
that's the other really big favorite part of the song is for
yeah,
me too.
especially like the something that makes you do what you got to do, and the way that John delivers that makes you do what you got to do part, and then it goes right into the chorus. I mean, that makes you feel the song. If you
Yeah.
don't feel the song by then, go to the next track because that is like the tip.
Right. And that part where it says I was lost on my knees on the eve of defeat, I feel like I truly felt that when I was in that parking lot in my car in the hospital, and I'm just like in tears, like, what the heck am I gonna do? And it was just me and choking back the tears. And I felt like there was this silent scream no one could hear. Like inside, I was screaming, like trying to figure this out. And so hearing him put all of that into these words is just, really hits home.
And there was a so this excuse me, this album came out when I was 13, 14. So
Mhm.
I remember there's a line here that I just there's a silent scream no one could hear. And I remember when I was in high school or middle school, that line taught me that never judge someone from appearance because you don't know what's going on within them. You don't know,
Inside.
you know, what that person's going through. And it just like doing a simple hello. Like I remember I would say hello to anybody at school and stuff. And a hello goes a long way. But what I'm trying to get at is that we're all strangers. We may be strangers to each other, but you never know what the other person's going through. And
Absolutely.
you try to be kind and be positive and so, but that line always taught me that ever since I was in middle school. So I wanted to just throw that out there. What else? And then the way he delivers that lines too, a silent scream that no one could hear, the way he sings here, and
Yeah.
that's how then that pre-chorus starts to escalate. So far away and blah blah blah. Um, any other favorite lyrics?
Let me look
All of
here.
them.
All of them.
Yeah,
Yes.
every
I
single
mean,
word.
even the very beginning, I love how the song starts out with the bell
Yeah,
too, like the giant bell sound. Um,
and
I
then
think that's a great way to sort of lead into the song. And the initial lyrics, I love those as well. I've walked all alone on
yeah,
the streets I call home. And
yeah,
yeah, I feel like I just feel all of the lyrics in this song, and
yeah.
they mean mean something like to something I've experienced.
You mentioned the intro. I want to talk about the intro. I love the way that it starts with the bells. and then you have that slow acoustic guitar that John's playing.
Mhm.
And I didn't realize that's a 12 string that he's playing. And we'll
Really?
hold the live aspect here soon. We never see John play a 12 string. And so if you watch some of the Have a Nice Day tour videos, he plays, I think it's a Takamine 12 string. But when you listen to the track, it doesn't sound like a 12 string, but it is. And so when he's playing that song, I love the way the bells come in, and then he starts to come in. It's a very slow and easy, gradual song at the beginning. Nice, easy listening. And then the build up starts with that second verse. I was lost on my knees. And then it starts to build up with that pre-chorus. And then obviously when that chorus comes in, your heartstrings are getting pulled.
Yeah. That silent scream. No one could
Yep,
hear. The way he
yep.
does that is,
Um, one thing that I really like too is the way that John screams in the. I mean, vocally, this is one of the best songs on Have a Nice Day. The way that, like you said earlier, the way he puts emotion into it and everything makes it so good. Like when he screams, "Let them ring here and now," um, right before the final chorus. Um, we talked about when the world comes crashing down. We talked about that. I'm just looking at my notes here. I have a lot to say. I always have a lot to say.
You always have a lot to say. So do I.
We got a lot
You
to
see
say.
my long comments on Twitter.
Yes, I love your comments on Twitter. We'll get into that. Um, and I think one of the other best highlights for me too is when John screams freedom. You know, right,
Yeah.
right before the first guitar solo, and then
Hmm.
right at the end before the final
For the
guitar outro.
outro. Yeah.
I just love that. And
Right.
the shows that I went to on the Have a Nice Day tour, they never did Bells of Freedom, and so that was like one of my back up when Have a Nice Day came. I meant to say this earlier. When Have a Nice Day first came out, Bells of Freedom was actually probably my second favorite song on the album. Now it's probably around 5 or 6. It's still up there.
Very. You went down that far?
Well, no, I mean, I think I know nothing and Unbreakable doesn't really count because they're outtakes, but those
Right.
are my favorites of the album era. Um, I Am, which is
I
relatively
love I Am.
I Am. I Want to Be Loved has really climbed. When the album first came
Yes.
out, I Want to Be Loved was pretty low, but now it's probably maybe my
Yeah.
second. Welcome to Wherever You Are. I'd
I
put
love
Bells of Freedom.
that too.
I'd probably put Bells of Freedom at 4 or 5. 4.
Mine, I've got it at one. I don't know if you.
I know it's your. um, let's see here, and then I want to give Tico a little credit here because when right after the first guitar solo, and then John's doing a couple verses there, and then right before the final chorus, the Tico does the drums during the "Let Them Ring" here.
Hmm.
And that's what leads into the chorus. I thought that was brilliant.
Also, before I forget, something else I love is when they start on the second verse with "I was lost on my knees." Those little two-note guitar riffs that happen
Oh
on that.
yeah,
I love those.
me
Like
too.
I listen, sometimes I'm listening for those and I just forget about the lyrics. But it's like it's little things like that that you wouldn't even think make that big of a difference. But
Yeah, what's funny? It's funny that you say that because I was driving home, and just to kind of brush up on the song a little bit before we did this podcast, I had the song on repeat, and I'm glad I did because the first time I was actually paying attention to the instrumental parts of the song and not really the lyrics and vocals and all that, and so I'm glad I re-listened to it, because like you said, you kind of get distracted a little bit. That's just the beauty of loving this band so much and diving deeper into a song.
right.
It's yeah. Um, anything before we get into the song live? Was there anything else that you wanted to say? Oh, we have to talk about the guitar solo at the end.
Yeah,
The first guitar solo, it's there, but it's not there, and it's kind of short and sweet. And but the outro guitar solo is really in your face, and it really, like, if you're not, it really has a lot of emotion to it.
it
Um,
does.
And I just love the way that Richie plays that. I think it's really good.
Also, I think there's a getting closer to the end of the song. I think it's on the quiet part where John's singing the chorus kind of slowly. There's like a 3 chord bass thing from Hugh that is also one of my favorite parts of the song. It's just like 3 notes, that's it, but it's just like I don't know, it also makes it
Yeah.
for me.
Absolutely. Is that right before the solo comes in?
Um,
Boom,
it's
boom,
on
boom.
the real kind of quiet chorus part of the ring them bells, ring them loud.
I'm gonna have
Before he goes into like the big uh let them ring here and now, it's like during that quiet part where there's not much background music, and then all of a sudden you'll hear these 3 notes from the bass.
I'll have to open up an investigation tonight. I won't sleep until it's solved. I never realized that. All right, let's talk about this song live.
Yeah,
So it wasn't a staple on the Have a Nice Day tour set list. They played it here and there, the original version, but John plays a 12 string. Um, one of my favorite I think it's on YouTube. One of my favorite performances of this song is Milwaukee 2006.
yeah, I saw that
Right.
one.
And right before the final guitar solo at the end, you hear Johnny saying, "Come on, come on, come on." Kind of like doing that build up with the crowd and Richie and stuff.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden Richie just lets loose. And I mean, that really just almost puts a tear in my eye sometimes when I watch that, because I'm a big baby.
Yeah, they did like a pretty elongated outro
Yes, they did.
at that one,
Mhm.
which was very cool because John was sort of ad-libbing with like, some, oohs and, kind of
Yeah,
carrying on the song while there was still like guitar and all of that going on. So that was
yeah.
pretty cool. But his vocals during that performance are just, oh my God,
Phenomenal. Yeah.
spot on.
I know that, and I'm surprised that they didn't do it every night because I know vocally it's kind of a harder song to sing,
It is.
but like even like 2005 and '06 JBJ could really do. I mean, and you
Oh
could
yeah.
tell it's a tough song to sing. And what was I going to say? I forget. Anyway, but they played it. I don't think they did it at all on the Lost Highway tour. Maybe once, if I remember. But
They
then
didn't do it at mine.
they didn't do it at mine either. But in 2011, they did it as a Circle B stage song, and the whole band
Mm.
came out. I'm sure you've probably seen the videos, but for people that are listening and blah blah blah, the whole band would come out, and it was more of an acoustic style, and Richie sang along more, which was kind of a different rendition. It was actually really cool. Um, and so I like that, and I think David played the accordion
The
to it.
accordion, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that from the Munich performance on YouTube.
Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah,
a
they did
that,
big
that
this.
whole show is phenomenal. And then John
And
had
Pico on the beatbox.
yeah, and then John has done it a few times at runaway trips, and I think there was one where he forgot the words, which is
Oh, really?
yeah, and he was trying because he hasn't played it forever, and someone asked him to play, and he like did like the first verse. I don't think he could get the chorus, and so he was like, "Da, da, 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 da," and then he got it. I'll have to find that video, but yeah. Uh,
Funny.
and then, but they haven't played it since, and it's a shame because I would love if I could see any Have a Nice Day song, it would actually be this one live. Like
Yeah.
I've seen it, and during the Have a Nice Day tour, I really wish I did.
Yeah, and sadly, I didn't get to go to the Have a Nice Day tour, which is like enormous, enormous regrets.
Well, let's do
But
this. Let's get together, build a time machine, make lots and lots of money, and then use that money to go front row to every Bon Jovi show. Wait till we see Bells of Freedom.
done, I'm there.
All right. Was there anything else that you wanted to say about the song?
Um, I don't think another one of the live performances of it that that I watched on YouTube that I enjoyed was the Milton Keys
Oh, yeah.
performance of it. They didn't do like as long of an outro and stuff like that on the song like they did in Milwaukee. But it was another one where those vocals were just unbelievable, like just flawless.
Yeah. I forgot about the Mountain Kings performance. I'm gonna have to watch. I always say, and I say this to people online, Milton Keynes are probably one of the best Bon Jovi shows. Every single show that they've had there has always
Seems like
been phenomenal, you know? So, so anyway, thank you so much. Don't hang up on me. I'm gonna end the recording. Don't hang up.
I won't, I promise.
Yes, just don't hang up. But anyway, I want to thank you for always being such a good friend with to me online. We always have our great chats every single day,
Hmm.
and I always look forward to your because I get up around 4 or 5 in the morning to go work out, and at the same time, I get my phone just blows up. If you tweet, and that's absolutely 100% fine. And and I just always love hearing from you. You're always positive, and I just love being able to talk about our favorite band together. And I just want to tell you,
Well,
I
thank
appreciate.
you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. I appreciate everything you do. Have, like I said, I wouldn't have found, a Bon Jovi family and a Bon Jovi community had I not, you know, had one of your tweets recommended to me by Twitter itself. So I
yeah.
always say Twitter did something good for once.
Hey, I love Twitter. Like,
So getting to talk to people who actually love the band as much as I do is like
yeah,
something I never knew that I actually needed all of these years. And it's like, wow, these people know these songs and they know what they
yeah,
mean and they know, every note and nook and cranny of them. So it's just like, you know,
yeah.
blows my mind. So I appreciate it.
It's people that get us. It's
Yeah.
people who understand. Because my wife or my friends or colleagues, whoever, will make fun of me about loving a band so much. And I was like, you just don't get it. And then, when I talk to people like you or somebody else, they get it. They understand
Yeah.
how much this band means to us. And, I remember when the new album announcement came for Forever or any other album announcement, whatever. And I would just be like, I'd rub it in my friends' faces, call, everybody. And people are like, I don't care. I'm not
I,
going to, but then you go online and share your excitement. Everybody else is excited. Everybody just,
yeah.
it's just, it's phenomenal to have the online world and being able to, because like you, I think we talk almost every day, whether it's through,
Yeah.
a message or through, tweets, we talk every day. And it's great. It's great how a band just brings everybody together.
Yeah. And, I have the long tweets. I push that character limit, pretty much all the time because I have a lot to say about Bon Jovi and I haven't gotten to say it, for, the first 38 years or whatever that I was a band.
Yeah,
So,
I know
so
when
everyone gets to hear it now.
yeah, when I'm done tweeting, uh, I had to go like this and shit because my thumbs hurt and
Yeah,
everything.
you have so many people that you have to respond to, and I'm always surprised at how gracious you are at, trying to respond to
Yeah,
everyone and try to, really make everyone be included. So that's always, super nice. But
there's a lot of good people on there, and I don't like to ignore anybody that My thumbs pay for it though. My hands
yeah,
pay.
you're gonna have the carpal tunnel and,
Yeah. Actually, that's a different topic. Yeah. Anyway, don't hang up. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks for having me on so I can talk about my favorite song. That's awesome. I appreciate that.
Oh, you'll be on again, but it won't be about
Oh,
Buzz of Freedom. We'll find something else to talk about.
I can talk about a lot of Bon Jovi stuff, we both can.
Hey, me too. I could talk about one or two things.
Right.
I mean, we just spent what the last 35 minutes talking about Buzz of Freedom.
Right,
Oh,
one
a
song.
single song.
That's just one song out of 40 years.
Yeah, and my wife knew I was doing a podcast here in a second, and she's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Oh, we're just gonna talk about a song." Oh, that's only gonna be 5 minutes. I'm like, honey, it's trust me, we're not just going to talk about a song. We're going to go deep into the song and just
Right.
talk about every
Plus,
single.
it's Bells of Freedom, for crying out loud. A very underrated, I feel underappreciated.
Yeah.
Bon
I'm
Jovi.
glad you mentioned because it is. It's very underappreciated, and a lot of people don't really like it. No, I don't want to say a lot of people. I can't speak for a lot of people, but like just from like my interactions online with people, it's not really talked about often.
No, it's hardly talked about. It's hardly mentioned. Some people don't even know what it is.
Yeah,
So
just shame.
I'm just like, does anybody care about Bells of Freedom besides me?
Yeah, I think we should go around and hold up signs and tell people to listen to it. You know,
Listen to Bells of Freedom. We'll get t-shirts, you
yeah,
know.
listen to Bells of Freedom. Yeah,
Listen to Bells of Freedom by Bon Jovi.
yeah. All right, Shauna. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it.